violence, those people who inflict violence in 4 years' time, then what you're doing is to postpone.
I guess
exactly what you're doing is to postpone that by 2 years.
But let me ask Mr. Wale Okuni. You ran for governor in 2000, the last election. You ran under the banner of the CPC or so in Ogun State. And tell me, as a politician and someone who has run for election, you think, by bringing about a single term of, say, 6 years or 5 years, that way you can check how much politicians spend, spend during elections, and that way you can check violence and reduce the acrimony that usually, trail election process?
I think what the president actually meant is a lot of distractions for governance, leading to elections. You are distracted, you cannot concentrate on governance, and which goes on because more politics itself is highly monetized. It is the
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking you.
Yes, I'm going there. I'm going there.
You think the only way of you said politics?
No, no, really. But you see, I'm eating at the foundation, because if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The foundation of the politics, of the democracy, of Nigeria is faulty, and you cannot build any proposal on it. It is soon going up in flames, and we have won.
And that foundation is the Constitution.
And so we are saying, yes, it's constitutional, because all the dialogue, all the structural panel beating, all the democratic consolidation will have to find the structure, which is the Constitution. We have to be embedded or codified in the Constitution. So what we are saying in essence is this.
This is not the Constitution. This is your own draft.
Oh, this is the Pronaco draft Constitution, which is ready.
Because you were making reference to the Constitution.
Yeah, to be submitted, yes, to be submitted to a national conference. But what I'm saying here is this. Yes, governance in Nigeria today is highly expensive, highly monetized. It is the governance of the, and the democracy you have today is the clique democracy, where you have a clique running democracy. People are not included. You must throw it up. For Nigeria to survive, for Nigeria to continue to exist, for us not to wake up one day and find that there is no Nigeria, we must do something urgently. And what we are proposing, Eminent Nigerians met Tuesday, and we came up with our own private members bill. We have come out with our own private members bill, our own proposal that can help Mr. President
what exactly
and
is the
help the nation.
What is the concept?
Yeah, it's talking about a roadmap to a people's constitution. To say that, look, you need stakeholders to be consulted, and for them to come around a conference. You can start from a referendum. You can end up with a referendum. But either way, you need a referendum. You need the people's mandate.
I want you, Chief Waziri, I want you to react to that.
Well, first thing is that the biggest problem you have is how to choose those who are called stakeholders.
No, I'll explain.
That's the first problem.
I will deal with that.
If you come to Imo State, those who are elected will tell you where the elected people. Then you have some party chieftains who will tell you cannot do anything without consulting us. So at that moment, you have lost it. Choosing stakeholders is subjective. It's as you, Mr. President or Mr. Governor, think. You may be looking at somebody that is there and you think that he is a credible person, but he is a leader without followership.
Anyway, without actually losing focus now, I want you to tell me, for instance, how you think this president's proposal now would be able to, once and for all address the issue of violence that accompanies election each time in this country, and how you think it would, for instance, also check the issue of how much is spent during elections.
Okay, let me tell you. If a governor is elected the year 2011, the first 1 year from now till May next year, he'll be filling the various positions. By the second year, he'll be busy taking over his party structure.
Right.
By the third year, he's busy plotting his re-election. And by the fourth year, he's already standing for election.
Okay.
So he spends the entire fourth term.
Very good. He spends the entire fourth term.
Let
us now go to the... Excuse me. Now, fine. You've just painted the issue of 4 years. Let us look at 6 years. I mean, borrowing from what you painted now. Let's take it from there. The first year, he is busy getting people filled in appointments. The second year, as you said... No, the second year, yes, he's trying to fix things. By the third year,
it's still government.
He's still trying to fix things. So by the 4th year, it is assumed. No, I'm saying in a 6-year period. By the 4th year, when he should be, or by the 4th year when he should be thinking of re-election, that's when he starts work. And then by the 5th year, so he has just 2 years.
Your own basis is wrong.
Okay, tell me.
3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, everything is government. He thinks of government, he thinks of legacy.
Really?
But then, if you are in 4 years, the first thing is that you have to plan, if you are Mr. President, who will be the next chairman of INEC. So, if you have a 4-year tenure, you are going to appoint the man who will supervise your own re-election. You are going to appoint the police chief who will make sure that everything is taken care of. But if it is 6 years, you will never have a chance of appointing your own referee.
Is that not just being simplistic about
You know, the preparation for election starts long before the whistle is blown by INEC. Long before. You do not nurse a political ambition 2 months or a month before the actual, especially
as a matter of fact,
level
those
of the
who are
presidency.
planning to run in 2015
yes,
are already.
So you know you have a roadmap. You have already prepared all of this. You have, or you want to believe that you have a proper understanding of the body politic of this country, and you have an idea about how to go, towards solving the issues that confront the people that you've promised, that you're going to improve their welfare. So you get into power already. We were told even before the president was sworn in. We were told, I think somebody on your platform, one of days you had your program, you said the president was going to hit the ground running. Right. I remember that expression.
Exactly, you're right.
You understand? And that comes from a proper understanding. That comes from a proper understanding of the responsibilities that are at hand. It is not for today. And for this president, the wonderful thing again is that he had a seamless transition from himself to himself. So you do not need the first year. So he already knows the ministers that have not performed, the ministers that should not come back into power, and so on. He already knows the issue of the problem of power. Because if you remember, he was head of the presidential task force on energy. In the wake of the controversy created by the Lumelu panel, and the problems that arose therefrom. And so you want to believe that he already has a hands-on situation or knowledge about what is going on and what is needed to be done. We cannot accept, because this is not the only democracy where a 4-year tenure is in place. You talk about the great democracies in the world, you talk about maybe the United States and some other great democracies and the rest. And so, are we saying because Nigeria is a very peculiar country that it must be different? Democracy is the same. It's about representation of the people. It's about... But the last thing I want to say on this is this. In as well, that some of the problems that have led us to where we are is because there is no way you are going to force a constitution on the people. There's no running away from the fact that we have to sit down. Eventually, we have to talk about the basis for our national existence. We can't run away from it.
Yeah, I feel that...
That actually supports your point.
Yeah, I feel that there's nothing going on here in Nigeria. There is no way. Our contest is different from the contest in UK. If you call it democracy, you call it democracy in America. Yes, they are different, because what we experience here is not what they are experiencing. And our foundation, the foundation of our democracy, is crisis reading. And then you have a situation whereby you have a lot of conflicts in the nation. So a president will not be able to fulfill anything in 4 years, in 6 years, in 10 years.
And that's quite
yes, because he has not dealt with the foundation of the people owning the nation, owning governance. The people must own governance. Look at politics today. You want to go there, I want to go. Everybody, the rush is so bad. Everybody want to go there. Those who do not have anything,
because it pays,
they come from overseas, they get some money, they borrow money from back, and then they become governor. What kind of rubbish is that? And they have nothing to offer. They will have nothing to offer. 4 years, nothing to show. And we continue. We must restructure in such a way that we make policy less attractive. Those who want to serve, let them go to politics. We will know who is who when you make it less, make it part-time thing for legislature. These are the kind of restructuring we are looking at when we get to the conference. We don't want to impose single term or 2 term or whatever. That is not the issue. That is not the issue. It's for us to make politics less attractive. Make it service. And the only way you can do that is to begin to look at it and say, look, okay, you are going to, as a matter of fact, you only get per GM of 10 naira. Are you interested? You still want to serve? Then you will know. And that, look, whatever is here, you can't accumulate this.
Could finance also be one of the reasons you lost the last election? I mean, that you didn't do well.
Oh, well, maybe people had a lot of deception here and here with money. People bamboozle them with money. Yes, it's part of it. But then it's. I mean, I can't say that is totally the point. But the fact remains that people are overwhelmed. People are the ruling class today deliberately impoverish the masses, so that during the election they will come out with money and they say Babake, Babake. And you see people jumping because people are dying instrumentally. And
that goes to address this issue that you just cannot solve this problem with a single term, 2 terms, or 10 terms. That the fundamental issue to solve is how do you address, for instance, politics getting highly monetized? Because when politics gets highly monetized, you deprive some people the opportunity
and they recoup their investment.
Exactly, and it's just about investment anyway.
You know, in politics, you spend money, but that's not enough. I'm happy Wale was in Ogun State. If Ogun State election was a matter of cash and carry, Governor Mosi will not be there today. We had the state governor supporting one side, we had the federal mind through PDP supporting the other. But let me come in and address this single-term debate. People have complained, is this the major problem? Why is he bringing it now? I think Mr. President is flying a kite. We have probably the next 2 years to think. If by the year 2013 we do not have a constitution that says by 2015 we have a single term of 6 years, then there's no way it will work. It will fail. And you need time
be difficult because some people have said, what about states where elections will take place next year, the year after, and all
these
of that,
things are matters of details, which you can always solve when you get down to the nitty-gritty. But first and foremost, we ask ourselves, is it better for us to have a governor who spends 4 years, he uses the state fund to run every campaign for re-election? Every penny spent by a sitting governor is from the state purse.
And if you are running, if we were just running for the first time, who says we've seen situations where people steal to run for elections in this country?
Oh yeah, people will always steal, but then remember, it is not the case of a sitting governor
steal from the state
using the entire state resources. Let me put it
so
entire.
So what is wrong with checking? You have a law in place. What is wrong with making that law work? There's a law that prevents people from using state funds to run elections. So what is wrong with making sure that that law works?
You know the first problem we have in Nigeria being a third world.
We can't enforce
We can't enforce things. 1, 2, where you enforce it is called political persecution.
And the problem is, if we go on like this, where does it stop?
No, it will stop when one day somebody gets up to say, I will not contest, I will make sure that this law is implemented. Don't vote for me because I'm not a candidate.
Anyway, because we have to round up this discussion, but let me just ask you this. This is very important. Let's just assume the 6 year, let's go with the single term of 6 years. And you say, okay, whoever becomes the governor or president, since he won't be seeking re-election, he has nothing to worry about. But don't you think that person also would be interested in whoever takes over from him? Because whether you like it or not, some of these guys, I mean, it's not as if all of them would be so good. Some of them must have committed a lot of atrocities. So you want to cover your acts. Definitely, you surely would be interested in the man who takes over from you. And so if it requires using the state resources to get that man who takes over from you to come into office, you would do it.
We had that now. Yeah, we had that.
All right.
That syndrome.
It's
a function of the fact that politics is the greatest business in the country. And so, therefore, there is no way you can stop that, struggle for power if you don't first restructure in such a way that you make politics essentially a service-oriented business, where people who do not have anything to offer do not go there. Because the moment you say, okay, you have this, you have that, you find that people still continue to. No amount of proposal, single term, 2 terms, seamless terms will stop that. So the first thing we need to, because even in Nigeria today, you find where people don't use, where they don't use government resources, money bags will come together and conspire against the people.
Yeah, and this
and Nigeria power. So what are you talking about? Somebody can look further, the other is using money back, you are using all kinds of money, and the people are deliberately impoverished. So what we really need to do is for once, let the people own the nation. Let them own their constitution. It is not about single term, it's about the fact that Nigerians are alienated and they are fighting every day. Boko Haram is fighting, and they will continue to fight as long as we don't come together and say, okay, look, we all belong to this. And you can then isolate them.
Okay, Mr. Wale, let me get the final word from Achike.
You see, Deji, I couldn't have put it better. I think you also hit the nail on the head, really. When somebody spends, other African dictators in the past, some of them spent 15, 20 years and so on, and they were always interested on who takes over from them. And that is the system. I think it was Dr. Tunji Braithwaite that did a caption editorially, one of some major national newspapers, and he entitled it "Corruption is King," and that is the truth. Corruption is king in Nigeria, and embedded in what you said is the fact that anybody who has left, who has been in power, has corrupted himself in the process of governance. And so he's interested in who takes over from him so that he would also be protected. And so you now find out that the logic in the single 6-year tenure is fraught with all kinds of thoughts that are not really logical. They did not subject this to very critical test and analysis, and that is why it's having the kind of problem it's having. But again, the country must move forward. And how do we move forward as a country? Fine, maybe the president was really worried about some of the things that are going on, but he forgets that he's president. He forgets that he's commander-in-chief. If people are contravening the law on elections, on fundraising for elections and so on, these things work against the Nigerian state. He must move against those people. We must be bold enough, and that is why he's president. The same thing has to do with the issue of violence. You cannot postpone violence for 2 years, just from 4 years to 6 years, so that instead of violence to happen, at this particular point, you shift it again, without actually tackling the problems why these things are there. But it's also very key, it's important, that for this country to move forward, we have said, the word is used, we, the people, it was the military, it was a set of people that sat down and decided to give us the law. Somebody has said that the people, I think it was the late US jurist, John Marshall, that the people made the Constitution and the people cannot make the Constitution because it lives by the will of the people. And that is how important it is. No matter how powerful a Constitution is, no matter how good a Constitution is, the people who made that Constitution can set aside that Constitution for the good of everybody.
All right, that's where we have to leave it for today. And I want to thank you all for coming on the program. Achike Chu, the political analyst, thank you very much for coming. Mr. Wale Okoni, spokesperson of ProNACO, thank you very much for coming. And Chief Godwin Azurike, as always, so thank you very much for coming on the program.